Well, thanks so much for joining us for this edition of Making Sense, where we talk about our finances, our financial institutions, the current trends, as well as what's on the horizon out there. Joined, of course, by Justin from Forest Area Federal Credit Union. Today, Justin, we're talking about budgeting and smart ways to get out of debt. So you brought a special guest, an expert, to help us understand what we should be doing and what's out there to help us. Right, Justin?
That's right, Mark. Nice to see you again this evening, and to all of our viewers. Thank you for tuning in. I wanted to share with everyone that's been tuning in to our segments here. I want to introduce you to a partner that we have at GreenPath. This is Catherine that's on the show with us. And GreenPath is a nonprofit organization that we have partnered with that provides all sorts of financial wellness tools, tips, tricks, counseling. I mean, it's really been a fantastic partnership. And I'm going to let Catherine go into the details, but wanted to take a moment to share with our viewers why our credit union chose to partner with them. And that's because, like we've talked in other segments, there are viewers out there are folks out in our communities that could use a little help. And your banks and credit unions are there to provide that help. And we're also there to help find other resources for you. And GreenPath is one such resource. In fact, I first learned of GreenPath probably 15 years ago when a friend of mine came to me and said, Justin, I'm going through this tough time. Can you help me look through some stuff? And we looked through some things together. And I said, I've heard of this place called GreenPath. Maybe you should reach out to them also. And it evolved into this huge success story for that friend. And so when we had an opportunity here at Forest Area to partner with GreenPath, we jumped on it. And I want to tell everybody that's viewing also is that GreenPath is well connected. Forest Area isn't the only financial institution in our community or the greater Upper North community that partner with GreenPath. They're partnered with a lot of places. So Catherine, thank you for being with us. Thank you for being part of what GreenPath does for so many across the United States, and specifically for us here in Northern Michigan. So great to have you on and share a little bit about what GreenPath Financial Wellness is.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me and inviting me.
That's a great introduction, right? That's a lot to live up to, right, Catherine?
It sure is.
It sure is, right? All right, but you guys are good, and you do what you do is great work. Before we get started in struggling and tackling debt, we're here in the segment, Justin and I always like to acknowledge what can be challenging situations. Getting out of debt and doing it the right way can be hard, right?
Absolutely. Yes. And something that GreenPath takes very seriously is we do take that non-judgmental approach. It's something that we train all of our counselors in from day one that they start working with us, is that we want our clients, anyone that comes to us, to be treated with that non-judgmental lens, because this is hard. You're absolutely right. It's very challenging, and sometimes you can feel a lot of shame about it. And let me tell you, you're not alone if that's what you're feeling right now about your finances, because we hear that every single day at GreenPath.
And I imagine that people lose sleep over that. That when you are in debt, it's all encompassing, right? It never escapes your mind. It impacts you when you go to the grocery store. It impacts you when your head hits the pillow at night.
Yes.
People worry about this. This can have real life consequences, but it can also take a real emotional toll on people, right?
Absolutely. And that's why, again, our emphasis on really not blaming, not shaming, not judging people when they come to us, because we know that it's taken a lot probably to pick up that phone and give us a call. And there has probably been some sleepless nights, unfortunately, and there has been some, it's just such incredible worry. And so that's why it's so important to us to hold them with care when they call us.
Right.
And we hear that feedback a lot. Like, I thought that I would be judged. I thought that they would, be like, why, how did you get into so much debt? We don't do that. That's not our way that we talk to our clients or to our people, because we know, and many of us have lived it ourselves. Many of our employees are former clients, actually, because they see the good that we're doing, and they say, I want to be a part of that. So And it just in the same way that Justin said, we have had such a widespread impact that people hear about us from friends, family, and they know, and their local credit union, so they know that they can trust us. Because there are a lot of bad actors out there, unfortunately, and it can be hard to know who to trust. And I think that is part of the stress that some people feel. What do I do about this? Who do I trust? Who do I go to? And so that's why I want to, I want to add on to that. I appreciate everything that you said about GreenPath, Justin, and I want to add to Forest Area for partnering with us, because you don't have to do that, and you see that financial wellness is valuable for your members. And so thank you for partnering with us.
And Justin and I, over the last many topics, we've talked about sometimes when we make money decisions, we make short-term bad decisions. We make decisions that aren't necessarily the best. And when you are in debt or running short on cash, sometimes some of those decisions may feel good tomorrow, but 2 weeks from today, or may not have been the necessary step to get yourself out of path. So GreenPath is really looking at addressing a solution, not a Band-Aid. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. So we will have what we call our debt management program.
Okay.
And that is a very specific structured program that it's not a Band-Aid. It is something to get you to pay your debt in full. It's designed to be paid off in 3 to 5 years. And what we do is we arrange with your creditor to potentially lower that interest rate, and potentially even lower that monthly payment that you owe, so that you can get out of debt sooner. And again, with paying less interest charges over the course of paying down that debt. So yes, when we talk to people, they walk away with having a solution. And that's a part of every one of our counseling sessions, whether you come to us for debt counseling, housing counseling, you walk away with an action plan, a step-by-step guide of what to do next. And I think that's what's lacking. We don't have that in our schools, right? We don't know what direction to go next. And so we hear that a lot, that just having that step-by-step guide is so valuable when you walk away from a counseling session at GreenPath.
Oh, a plan is huge, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
You may not be very far down that plan's path, but you at least have something to work. So what are some of the most used resources or educational content out there that we should be, or that are available for us when it comes to getting out of debt?
Absolutely. Yeah, well, I will say that, the program that I referenced earlier, the debt management program, is typically offered from nonprofits like GreenPath, and it's a state regulated program. And so it is something that, the CFPB, gives credence to and says is legitimate. And so it's something that you can trust to get you out of debt. So that's definitely something that I would recommend. And you can call a nonprofit like GreenPath to help you start that process. But we also find that people, to your point about people being up and having those sleepless nights, we also find that people want online resources to learn more about this. And so we've actually started a online interactive series of courses that help you walk through how to get out of that debt, how to make decisions, how to align your money with your priorities and your values.
And are there elements that come in to apply this on? I mean, it's nice to have a 3 to 5 year plan.
Yes.
In life, we should all probably have a 3 to 5 year plan, whether it has to do with money or not. But are there applications on a daily basis that
Yes.
we should also be utilizing if we find ourselves in this situation?
Yes. So that's a great point. I think that something that we go back to time and time again is what you really have to go back to is your budget, right? Your income coming in and your expenses going out. We find that when we sit down and talk to somebody, we're bringing that third party lens, right? We're not emotionally attached to some of these expenses. And so we can kind of provide some clarity for folks. And at the same time, we know that money is emotional. It's not just math. And so we talk about what are the important expenses? What are things that are really important to you, that are an important part of your budget? And how do we make sure that those are still accounted for in your budget, but that you also have enough income to cover all of those expenses, that all of your expenses are covered. So I think the day-to-day is really tracking your income and your expenses. And I think it's something that can be really challenging to do. And that's why I recommend reaching out to a credit counselor like a GreenPath credit counselor, because you don't have to do it alone. It's challenging, but you don't have to do it alone.
Catherine, don't name names, but what percentage of clients, ballpark, come into you and have no idea how much money they spend? Like they don't have a budget.
Yeah. It's a good question. I would probably rank it above half of our clients. And I think that's, again, very typical, very the norm. And it's our policy and something that we understand, again, personally. Many of us have gone through that ourselves. I can't tell you how many employees I've spoken to that said, I never thought about my budget before I started working at GreenPath. So, we've experienced it too. And so we know how it feels to be in that situation where you don't really know where your money is going day to day. And we also see and know the value of better having an idea of that.
So you're trying to tell me that having a budget not only can help keep us out of debt, but it can help get us out of debt.
Correct. Yes,
Wow.
exactly.
Justin, apparently budgets are important, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't know. Like I'm no financial genius, but it seems like we should at least be budgeting.
Yeah.
Yes. You have to budget in a way that works for you, right? Some people, it doesn't work to do like every single thing, right? Some people like to look at it as an aggregate, right? I've spent this much on entertainment this month or that kind of thing. Some people like to use an app. Some people like to write it down. It really doesn't matter what way you do it, but you do want to have a sense of that budget and how much you're spending versus how much you're making.
It seems like wise advice. Does GreenPath offer solutions? We've talked a lot about individual people.
Yeah.
But does GreenPath offer, these are tough economic times for our businesses, especially our small businesses. There's been a lot of things that have come up in the last 4 or 5 years that were unexpected expenses or shutdowns or increased costs and everything like that. Does GreenPath offer anything for small business owners?
Yes. So we talk to small business owners all the time. It's a common thing when you're starting up a business, or maybe when you have some inconsistent income from a business, that you might get into debt. That's completely understandable. And again, we talk to people every day who are in that situation. In fact, I was just talking to a client the other day who he was starting up his freelance business, and he, unfortunately started kind of charging this amount that wasn't covering his everyday expenses. And so he was putting everyday expenses on a credit card to pay. And there are many Americans right now that are doing that. And so we were able to work with him to set up a debt management program so that he could pay off that debt. And another component of the debt management program is that you're no longer using those credit cards. So then you're kind of pushed into coming up with a budget that fits for you without using the credit cards. I think that's a key thing that many people are maybe missing right now, is that they're using those credit cards to supplement their income. And unfortunately, long term, you're then paying more with the interest. Interest rates are up to 30% on average. And so you're really paying more over time on that purchase, on those everyday purchases. So we really want those purchases to fit within the income that you have. And so we find that is very challenging for small business owners. And so we work with them all the time.
I want to ask you about this. When you work with somebody, and somebody has navigated their plan, they've come to you in maybe a dark place, and they've navigated that plan. How appreciative of that shift in mindset, that must be life-changing.
Yeah, I'm really glad you asked that, because it is. And the thing that I hear more than any other phrase is, I wish I had done it sooner. And so when I talk to people, they're like, I want to tell people about this because I wish I had done it sooner. And it is such a sense of relief that they have a plan, they have a way to move forward, and they don't feel that overwhelming stress from the debt and not having a plan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Is the first step admitting you have a problem?
Well, that's a funny question to ask me, but I think that to me, it's not any individual that has the problem. I think that we have a systemic thing, right? There's a lot of ads on TV. There's a lot of ads on the internet, and it's hard. It's hard to not, purchase things, and it really is thrown at you every second of the day. And so, I wouldn't say that it's any individual's fault, and that's our way. We don't judge people by making decisions.
Let me rephrase that question because I didn't ask that well.
No, you did fine. I just
getting out of debt.
Mhm.
Getting out of debt and creating that budget is the first step. Being honest with yourself about what the way that I am handling my money or spending my money right now is not sustainable, and it's not taking me in the direction I want. Can that be the pivot point?
Yes, absolutely. It really can. And for many people, it comes in lots of different ways. So I've had clients that it came to them because they got denied for, a rental application. They wanted to rent a new apartment and they were denied. I've had clients that it was the last big purchase, that was the big light bulb moment for them, that this isn't working. So it comes in lots of different forms, but yes, I do think it does take some type of realization moment or something like that. I've also heard from a lot of our clients that I spent a month looking at your website. I spent a month reading your emails before I gave a call. So it takes time, and that's okay. It's all right. When you call, then we can get you on that plan and move you forward. So I would say we do hear a lot. I wish I had called sooner, but today's the day. Today can be the day.
One of the things that Justin and I talk a lot about is when it comes to our finances and banking and things like that. You two do have to be, but I don't have to be an expert. I have to talk to trusted experts. And so talk to your credit union about mortgage rates or refinancing. It's great to be well versed, but that shouldn't be a crippling thing of I don't know enough about this to get going. How important is it that when it comes to budgeting, creating a sustainable budget and getting out of debt, that we talk to experts like GreenPath, or can we do this on our own? Is it so much easier when you're following a trailblazer?
Mark, that is a great question. And I think it really depends on the person, but I will say that we hear, I'm biased, I suppose, but we do hear a lot that having that third-party person that isn't emotionally involved in it, right? Like I'm not emotionally involved in your finances. Right. I can look at it from that different perspective. And we do hear that can be really valuable. And again, we aren't taught this information in school. It's not something that we regularly know. So I talk to a lot of clients whose parents maybe didn't know some of this information. And so then they didn't get that information from their parents. They didn't learn it in school. They didn't learn it from their parents. Where else do you learn it? From an expert. So that's where I think that we come in, that you have this available. It's free to call. I would say, what do you have to lose, by consulting an expert, rather than having to do it on your own? Yeah.
It seems smart. Justin, you agree?
Absolutely, Mark. And I just want to chime in and add a couple other thoughts real quick. And that is GreenPath has a wealth of information that they make available either directly on their website or through partner websites like we have here at Forest Area. You do not have to be in a bad debt situation. You don't even have to be in debt to be able to benefit from GreenPath. GreenPath has curriculum and information let's say you have no debt, but you're interested that first-time car purchase, first-time home buyers purchase. They have resources that we're using through our partnership to share with other people and that are available. They have a learning lab. They have they have workshops and webinars. Some are live, some are recorded. They make available to us these workshops. We've already hosted one that we have somebody on our team that's hugely passionate about this. and hosted an after hours workshop about budgeting. But I mean, you don't have to be in debt and looking to get out of debt to find benefit from GreenPath. So, normally we're not out here to make deals or anything, but if anybody watching would like access to GreenPath financial wellness services, feel free to go to forestarea.com and poke around. You'll find the link to our GreenPath partnership page, and you're welcome to use any and all those resources free of charge that are out there.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it.
Catherine, why do you like doing what you do? Why do your coworkers like doing what they do?
Yeah, I hear this again every day, that we're making a difference. This is something that is different for everybody. It's something that applies to every single person. Money, right? We all have to deal with it. All of us as adults, it's something that's part of our life. And so the fact that we can be knowledgeable and help others is pretty rewarding. And so I hear that a lot from my coworkers, and I feel it myself, that it's valuable to help others and make a difference. So that's what I like doing, why I like doing what I do.
We all have to deal with money, right?
Yeah.
And probably none of us have as much as we would love to have, right?
Right.
We can all take a little bit more, right? We all in agreement on that. Okay.
Yeah.
So and it sounds like GreenPath will help people that may find themselves in a situation where they need to get out of debt. But Justin, you were bringing up that GreenPath can also help with other financial decisions that we're making. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Housing counseling.
Go ahead, Catherine.
I was just going to say, another big thing that we do is housing counseling. So, if you're looking to purchase a home, but you don't really know what goes into that, that's your goal, but you don't know the steps to get to that goal. That's a great place where our housing counseling can step in and say, all right, this is what you can do first. This is what you can do next. This is what you can do next, and set yourself up to be a ready home buyer.
And where's GreenPath located?
Well, our headquarters is in Metro Detroit, but we have offices all over the United States. And again, we have our partners like Forest Area, where they can give you information and chat with you about GreenPath as well. So we really do try to make sure that we're out in the community and present, because you want to be able to trust a financial institution when you're giving us, and talking to us about things that you're talking to us about. You want to be able to know that you can trust them. And so that's why it's really important for us to partner with, credit unions like Forest Area, because you trust them and they trust us. And so that's why we're here to provide that support.
And Justin, how nice is it to have that ringer, to have GreenPath back in the background, where when you have somebody that walks into the credit union with something that you're like, hey, we can help you, but this could be a benefit to you, and be able to pass them along and guide them to GreenPath. What's that like for you?
Well, I tell you what, as far as the partnership, it's a no-brainer, because when we're working with our borrowers, we can work with them on the relationship we have. But often that relationship stems out to other lenders, other parties, and that's where GreenPath can sometimes help with that. Not to mention the resources they bring to the table. How many times should banks and credit unions reinvent the wheel when we have this resource that is keeping the wheel up to date? They're continuously reviewing their content, updating it, making sure it's relevant, and that makes our jobs that much easier, so that we can work directly with people
and work smarter, not harder. Let them don't reinvent the wheel there. Catherine, Justin and I always like to do this, regardless of where the conversation is going. We always like to end on a hopeful note, right, Justin?
Yes.
Kind of our thing, right? We can talk about things that are just soul crushing, but then we always try to give hope. Okay.
I love it.
So Catherine, for the viewers that are watching, that think that the only way that is, they got to win the lottery, or that's going to fix the problem.
Mm.
Give us some hope, real hope, not faith. Give us some real hope that wherever we are financially, it may take time, but is there hope?
Yes, there is hope. There absolutely is hope. And I think that something that we stress a lot at GreenPath is that you don't have to do it alone. I think that that's a lot of a barrier for many people. It's like, I don't know where to go. We know where to go. We know what steps to take. We're here for you. And so that's the hope I would leave you with, is that you don't have to do this on your own. There are supports available. Nonprofits like GreenPath Financial Wellness and your credit unions are there to support you. And so I think that's my ray of hope that I would leave you with, is that you don't have to be alone. You don't have to shut yourself off from the world. You don't even, if you don't feel comfortable, you don't have to talk about it with your family or friends, but there are still people there to support you.
Justin, you agree?
I certainly do.
Yeah, it's kind of, I get the feeling that it's kind of like the difference between Googling your medical conditions and actually going to a doctor, right? Like you go to GreenPath, you go to your credit union and you explain, here are my symptoms, and they're actually going to give you a course of treatment, right? As opposed to the worry whenever we Google anything, and we always know what the Google tells us, that, how bad off we are, right? But this is actually a situation where we may be able to find a solution, right?
Absolutely. And I see that all the time. Like, I'm on Reddit and things like that, and people will post, I'm in $20,000 of credit card debt, or I need to sell my house, or I need to start my car, or I need to file for bankruptcy or something like that. And I always just say, try talking, take a pause, and let's talk to a National Foundation for Credit Counseling counselor, a nonprofit credit counselor or housing counselor, before you go off the deep end and start taking the internet's word for it.
Yeah, that's so true. Great help is available out there. Go talk to your credit union. Get in touch with GreenPath. If you are worried how you're going to sleep tonight because of your financial situation, or you have thoughts or concerns about the next step you want to take, go talk to experts. Does it sound fair?
Absolutely.
All right.
Yes,
Justin, I want to thank you guys both so much for give us some hope and dropping some knowledge on us today. And we'll hopefully catch you both again on a future segment.
Love to.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.